Okay, today we're going to talk about the signs that your ex does not want you back. In other words, these are the signs that your ex will exhibit when they don't even think about wanting you back. They don't care about getting you back. And basically, they're signs that you should be giving up and moving on. Now, most people don't like to even think about signs that an ex wouldn't want them back. And most people are clicking on this video because they're afraid that their ex is going to exhibit one of these signs. Now, when I was planning this video, I took a long time considering what these signs were, because once you kind of put something out there like this, people tend to get upset when their ex is exhibiting these signs. So when you're looking at these signs, just think of extreme cases, because you'll notice there are extremes involved in these signs. So let's just jump right into it. Sign number one, the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. So people often come to me after their ex has blown up on them. So you have initiated a texting sort of conversation with them. Their ex has not responded favorably, so to speak. They've said something mean, they've called you a name, they've said, "I never loved you, we're never gonna get back together," and they are looking at me and saying, "Chris, this is it. This means my ex doesn't care about me anymore," and I'm always quick to tell them, no, that's not what that means. It means your ex is upset with you or angry at you or angry with themselves, but kind of projecting it onto you. Because the truth is, the opposite of love isn't hate. It's not anger, it's indifference. The worst possible thing that you can encounter, the worst possible thing you can encounter when going through our program or even trying to get anyone back is you are literally talking to a wall, meaning they have full out blocked you everywhere. You have tried to communicate with them every way imaginable, and you can't get any kind of response or any kind of inkling that they're paying attention to you. They have essentially removed you and ghosted you from their life completely, and they're indifferent about it. They don't care about it. That is a great sign that your ex does not want you back. Real quick, I want to say that if you're new to this YouTube channel or you're trying to figure out what you should be doing to get your ex back, and you're trying to learn if you even have a chance in your specific circumstance, probably the smartest thing for you to do is actually stop by our website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, or take our Ex Recovery Chances quiz that can be found at exboyfriendrecovery.com. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, taking that free quiz is super easy to do. All you have to simply do is look in the description link below this YouTube video and click on the link you see there. It will take you directly to the quiz where you can fill it out and get an easy answer on what you should be doing going forward and overall what your chances look like in your specific situation. All right, so let's get you back to the video. Sign number two, you are stuck being friends with benefits. Another controversial sign. So the first one is about indifference. Your ex basically ignoring you, not responding to you, ever. The second one is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, but an extreme in its own case. So if you were to sit down and ask me, Chris, what is the most difficult situation that you could create that would prevent someone from getting back with an ex? And I would say friends with benefits. Without a doubt, friends with benefits, or maybe even cheating. We've had a lot of trouble in those specific circumstances. Now, why friends with benefits? Well, this is where the paradox kind of comes into play. A lot of times people watching this video are sitting there and thinking, or they have these stereotypes of what an ex who doesn't want them back looks like. And it's usually not going to be sleeping together, saying really nice things to you, or essentially being friends with benefits. But I think it's a clear indication that they're not going to want to get you back. Because in this case, when we're talking about getting back together, we're not talking about being friends with benefits. We're talking about having a potential lifelong commitment, someone that you can grow old with, or at least have the potential to have that happen. And usually friends with benefits situation aren't always a lost cause, but we find it's extremely difficult to get out of the friends with benefits scenario once you have entertained that idea. We have had clients that every coach, me, Coach Anna, Coach Tyler, has dealt with that are in this situation. And it's almost like this self-perpetuating cycle. Because in their minds, they believe if they don't do these things, their ex will lose interest in them. And that in and of itself is the problem. That they think their entire value has to do with sleeping together. And that's not how a relationship should be built at all. So what is the deal with friends with benefits? Why is it that it's such a bad sign? Well, it's because once you have entertained or shown your ex that basically he can have a cake and eat another one too, that's kind of a weird analogy, but you get where I'm going here. They don't ever want to go back to just a traditional relationship. They want to remain friends with benefits, but also play the field. And a lot of times we even demonize exes who engage in friends with benefits scenarios. And the truth is that it's not always as cut and dry as basically like, drunk texting you and saying like, hey, let's hang out, and then eventually sleeping together. No, it's more like they will butter you up and say everything that you want them to hear, but they will never, ever commit. And that is a bad sign. Sign number 3, they burn bridges with you in horrifying ways. So over the past 2 years, we have encountered in our private Facebook group 2 situations like this. So in most cases, it's pretty rare. So what do I mean by burning bridges in horrifying ways? I think the important part to talk about here is horrifying ways. When your ex is burning a bridge with you, it is basically them doing something that they know you won't be able to forgive. That's what I'm really kind of talking about. It's a way of them showing their true colors, and it's also evil and cruel and meant to hurt you on a deep physical and sometimes even emotional level. So what are examples of this? Almost always it involves someone else. So a couple of years ago, we had a woman in our private Facebook group get a text message picture from her ex. And it was basically her ex taking a picture of his current girlfriend, and the current girlfriend wasn't wearing any clothes. They were about to do something, and read between the lines there. And basically he made some sort of comment about this person being better than our client. That is burning a bridge in a horrifying way. And just recently we had a very similar situation occur in our private Facebook group where we had an ex who basically took a picture of another girl wearing something that our client or the person in our private Facebook group had given him as a gift. And it was something along the lines of like, do you recognize this? And it was kind of a very cruel way meant to harm, meant to hurt. Also, it was also meant to burn a bridge, to basically say, I am doing better now than I ever was doing with you, and I'm never wanting to come back with you. And it's hard to forgive something like that. You shouldn't ever try to get someone back like that, but it gives you kind of an indicator on how cruel sometimes breakups can make human beings. So if you're in this situation, I would advise you never to try to win someone like this back. I would advise you to completely move on, because if I read something, because I have seen just about every single situation possible, if I read something and it takes me aback, that's not a good sign. So if they burn a bridge with you in a horrifying way, run the other way. Sign number 4, they begin dating someone new for longer than 6 months. So it's actually pretty normal for an ex to want to move on after a breakup. After all, I've been on record saying multiple times, and what is a breakup other than some party admitting that they think they can do better than the party that they're currently with? So it's not abnormal for an ex to want to go out and explore other options. But we have a term for this practice, and we call this rebound relationships. But when does a rebound cease to be a rebound? Well, this is actually something that fascinated us, and we went out and tried to find research on it. There was none. There is lots of research in psychology on understanding how rebounds affect the human brain or human actions, but there's never any indication on how long rebound relationships typically last on average. So we kind of went out and did our own research and came up with our own answer. And that answer is 5.2 months. So if your ex has been with their new person for longer than 6 months, it is an indicator that that rebound is no longer a rebound. It's becoming something much more serious. Now, here's what I will say. Does that mean you should give up entirely? No, but if you have been using the being there method throughout those 5.2 months or 6 months and not seeing any traction, I mean, no positive type of results, it might be an indicator that it's time to use your time elsewhere. Sign number 5. If you cannot understand why someone did something, look at the consequences and infer the motivation. That is a quote from Carl Jung, one of my favorite psychologists. But what does it mean? Well, it's kind of, in a nutshell, a very complicated way of saying, instead of focusing so much on what your ex is saying, look at what they're doing, and that will tell you exactly what's going on in their mind. How cool would it be if you had the power to know at all times exactly what your ex was thinking? And the truth is that you do have this power, you just don't have the patience to implement it. Because in order for you to understand what your ex is truly thinking, whether or not they want to get over you or they want you back, time needs to go by and you need to study what your ex does, not what they say. All right, one final thing. If you haven't, please like this video. If you liked what you heard here, like it. You can help us with the YouTube algorithm. You could subscribe to our YouTube channel. That would be awesome as well. And also take that X Recovery Chances quiz that I talked about towards the middle of this video. All you have to do if you want to take the quiz is simply look in the description link below the YouTube video and click the first blue link you see there. It will take you directly to the quiz where you can get an answer on whether or not you have a good chance of getting your ex back. Wouldn't that be cool? I'll see you next time.